Hi, my name is Vija Turulytė, and the piece I will be reading to you today is taken from The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. The novel is based on true stories that came from soldiers that returned from the Vietnam War and discusses the effects that war has on a man and the memories that remain afterwards, showing the harsh realities of war. This novel is narrated by Tim O'Brien himself, and in this excerpt, one of his friends and soldiers, Sanders, is telling a story about six soldiers in the mountains of Vietnam and shows the mind-boggling reality of the toll that war takes on a man. In many cases, a true war story cannot be believed. If you believe it, be skeptical. It's a question of credibility. Often, the crazy stuff is true and the normal stuff isn't, because the normal stuff is necessary to make you believe the truly incredible craziness. In other cases, you can't even tell a true war story. Sometimes it's just beyond telling. I heard this one, for example, from Mitchell Sanders. It was near dusk and we were sitting in my foxhole along a wide muddy river north of Quang Ngai City. I remember how peaceful the twilight was. A deep pinkish red spilled out on the river, which moved without a sound, and in the morning we would cross the river and march west into the mountains. The occasion was ripe for a good story. God's truth, Mitchell Sanders said. A 6-man patrol goes up into the mountains on a basic listening post operation. The idea is to spend a week up there, just lie low and listen for enemy movement. They've got a radio along, so if they hear anything suspicious, they're supposed to call in artillery and gunships, whatever it takes. Otherwise, they keep strict field discipline. Absolute silence. They just listen. Sanders glanced at me to make sure I had the scenario. He was playing with his yo-yo, dancing it with short, tight strokes of the wrist. His face was blank in the dusk. We're talking regulation by the book LP. These 6 guys, they don't see a boo for a solid week. They don't got tongues. All ears. Right. Understand me? Invisible. Affirm. Invisible. So what happens is these guys get themselves in deep in the bush, all camouflaged up, and they lie down and wait, and that's all they do. Nothing else. They lie there for 7 straight days and just listen. And man, I'll tell you, it is spooky. This is mountains. You don't know spooky till you've been there. Jungle, sort of, except it's way up in the clouds and there's always this fog. Like rain, except it's not raining. Everything's all wet and swirly and tangled up and you can see jack. You can't find your own pocket to piss with. Like you don't even have a body. Serious spooky. You just go with the vapors and the fog sort of takes you in. And the sounds, man. The sounds scary forever. You hear stuff nobody should ever hear. So after a couple days, the guys start hearing this real soft, kind of whacked out music. Weird echoes and stuff. Like a radio or something, but it's not a radio. It's this strange gook music that comes right out of rocks. Fairway sort of, but right up close too. They try to ignore it, but it's a listening post, right? So they listen. And every night they keep hearing this crazy ass gook concert. All kinds of chimes and xylophones. I mean, this is wilderness. No way it can be real. But there it is. Like the mountains are turned into radio fucking Hanoi. Naturally, they get all nervous. One guy sticks juicy fruit in his ears. Another guy almost flips. Thing is, though, they can't report music. They can't get on the horn and call back the base and say, hey, listen, we need some firepower. We got blown away, this weirdo gook rock band. They can't do that. It wouldn't go down. So they just lie there in the fog and keep their mouths shut. And what makes it extra bad, see, is the poor dudes can't horse around like normal. Can't joke it away. Can't even talk to each other, except maybe in whispers, all hush-hush. And that just revs up the willies. All they do is listen. This next part, you won't believe. Probably not. You won't. And you know why? Because it happened. Because every word is absolutely dead on true. These 6 guys, they're pretty fried out by now, and one night they start hearing voices. Like at a cocktail party. That's what it sounds like. This big swank ghoul cocktail party somewhere out there in the fog. Music and chit-chat and stuff. It's crazy. I know, but they hear the champagne corks. They hear the actual martini glasses. Real hoity-toity, all very civilized, except this isn't civilization. This is numb. Anyways, the guys try to be cool. They just lie there and groove, and after a while, they start hearing. You won't believe this. They hear chamber music. They hear violins and cellos. They hear this terrific Mama San soprano. Then after a while they hear Greek opera and a glee club and the half-wrong boys choir and a barbershop quartet and all kinds of funky chanting and Buddha stuff. And the whole time in the background there's still that cocktail party going on. All these different voices. Not human voices though, because it's the mountains. Follow me? The rock, it's talking. And the fog too, and the grass, and the goddamn mongooses. Everything talks. The trees talk politics, the monkeys talk religion, the whole country, Vietnam, the place talks. It talks, understand? No, it truly talks. The cars can't cope. They lose it. They get on the radio and report enemy movement. The whole army, they say, and they order up the firepower. They get arty and gunships. They call in airstrikes. And I'll tell you, they fucking crash the cocktail party. All night long, they just smoke these mountains. They make jungle juice. They blow away trees and glee clubs and whatever else there is to blow away. Scorch time. They walk napalm up and down the ridges. They bring in cobras and F4s. They use Willy Peter and HE and incendiaries. It's all fire. They make those mountains burn. Around dawn, things finally get quiet. Like you never ever heard quiet before. One of those real thick, real misty days. Just clouds and fog. They're off in this special zone. And the mountains are absolutely dead flat silent. Like Brigadoon. Poor vapor, you know? Everything's all sucked up inside the fog. Not a single sound, except they still hear it. So they pack up and start humping. They head down the mountain back to base camp. And when they get there, they don't say diddly. They don't talk. Not a word, like they're deaf and dumb. Later on, this fat bird colonel comes up and asks, what the hell happened up there? What'd they hear? Why'd all the ordnance? The man's ragged out. He gets down tight on their case. I mean, they spent $6 trillion on firepower, and this fat-ass colonel wants answers. He wants to know what the fucking story is. But the guys don't say zip. They just look at him for a while. Sort of funny, like, sort of amazed. And the whole war is right there in that stare. It says everything you can't ever say. It says, man, you got wax in your ears. It says, poor bastard, you'll never know. Wrong frequency. You don't even want to hear this. Then they salute the fucker and walk away. Because certain stories you don't ever tell. Thank you.